What's up, everybody? Caleb Alexander here. We're back with another video. As you can see, this is the tank that we did last week, Monday, whenever that video came out. This is the last tank that we just did, and I have a problem. After bringing this tank up and filling it up and putting it on this dresser, I realized this is not safe. There is about a quarter-inch, half-inch gap right there up underneath the tank where the tank is not being supported. And over time, yeah, right now it's okay, it's not leaking or anything, but over time, that is just putting more pressure on the corner of this tank, which would eventually cause the tank to leak. So, to remedy that, I went ahead, got my father-in-law to cut me down some plywood to fit into these squares so that the tank can sit flush. There's two squares, two of them. I mean, the tank is, no, I'm sorry, the camera wonky. The tank is sitting on, 3 of its 4 corners are supported. But you want all 4 corners of an aquarium supported. So especially an aquarium this big, or not really big, but that just has this much extra weight in it. It's not like I just put sand and water in here and called it a day. I have a lot of rocks in here, like a lot. So that's adding extra weight. I don't want that strain on this tank. I want to be able to keep all my aquariums for as long as I want to keep them. So today we're going to be draining this tank down. This will be the first water change these fish get. So we'll see how that goes. We'll drain this down, move this, put the sheets of plywood in, and then put this tank back up here on the dresser. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to do, probably won't do water changes on this tank or that tank, but I'll probably do a water change on this one here. And this is just a convict tank, but I will tell you, I have something in mind that is like a better version of a convict. And I will just have to source those fish, and probably I have to find something to do with these convicts. And we're gonna have to do a whole rescape on this tank because, hint, hint, it's another dwarf African cichlid species. So let's get right into it. But before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and flip the camera and give y'all a quick update on just the Julies, on the Transcriptus. I've been loving them. So let me go ahead and flip the camera and show y'all what we got going on. All right, so before I show the fish, I just really want you to be able to see. Yeah, that much of the tank is unsupported. All of this unsupported. I mean, the corners are supported, which is arguably more important than this. But I'm just gonna put the plywood in, and then the whole thing will be able to sit flush, sit flat. As you can see, this tank is going on a week of being set up. I did no cycle. I mean, I used a filter that's already been running. I always hear people say that, but I'm like, how much is just your filter media? How much bacteria is that holding to be able to cycle a whole tank? But me, I've never had troubles when it comes to just setting up a tank and putting fish in. Do I recommend it to everybody? No, but in my experience, I've never had a tank crash. I've never bought a whole bunch of fish and put them in a fresh tank and then everything died. I've never dealt with that. But as you can see, the Transcriptus are looking good. I have no clue how many males or how many females are in here. I have no clue if there's been pairs starting or not. I have noticed one thing, like a behavioral thing that I've noticed. Since putting that little water pump in, all of these fish congregate on this side of the tank. There is one, normally when I feed, there's one that because I normally just put the flakes right there and just let it go through the tank. But a lot of the flakes end up going into the rocks, and there's one that kind of hangs out in there. He's not in there right now. But I've been saying, yeah, that's probably gonna end up being the biggest fish because he's getting all the food come right to him, and nobody else is competing with him for it. But as you can see, we're starting to get some diatoms only right up underneath of the light. I may get another one of these Magitarium clip lights just to put on. I'm not really growing plants or nothing in here. Like, that's not my main goal, so I don't really need it. But the diatoms are coming in, as you know. They're gonna get that brown algae when you start a fresh tank. It's just all part of it. But as you can see, we're starting to get some diatoms right up underneath of the light. I may get another one of these Magitarium clip lights just to put on. I'm not really growing plants or nothing in here. Like, that's not my main goal, so I don't really need it. But the diatoms are coming in, as you know. They're gonna get that brown algae when you start a fresh tank. It's just all part of it. Does it make the tank look bad? No. Is it bad for the fish? No. You know, so I'm just gonna let it rock out. I won't be probably doing anything like trying to get the diatoms to go away or anything when I do a water change. I'm just gonna change enough water to where I can move this tank and put these pieces of plywood up underneath of it. But the transcriptors, I've been feeding this bug bites, color enhancing, and I had this just laying around, so I said, figure I might as well use it before I go to bed. And they've been eating good on both, real good on both actually. I've been doing multiple little feedings throughout the day, so I'll do one real quick for you. But I've been doing multiple little feedings throughout the day because I really want to get these fish growing up, and I want to see pairs start getting developed. And I want to see that breeding behavior start, because it just looks like this tank would just look so good with a whole bunch of these fish in every single crack and crevice you see. And like I noticed, if you want to do a transcriptus tank, give these fish areas to perch on in the flow, because that's what these fish do all day, really. From what I've seen, they don't. This area over here is a little lighter flow, not as much flow. And over here, the flow is coming. I mean, you see where the pump is. I don't know if you can see where the outtake is, but it's a couple inches above the sand, and it's blowing, and these fish just perch on all these rocks close to the flow. And they're not perching quite as like how I normally see them because I'm standing in front of the tank. But let's see, like this is a good example. You'll see all the a whole group of them just on every rock, perched like that, diagonally on the rock. But I think they know they got some food coming, so I'm gonna go ahead and pour in some flakes. Don't want to do too much, but yeah, that's how I feed. I kind of just pour it right there in the filter, and then it goes through, gets pushed all within the rocks. And then when it gets to this side of the tank, that flow picks it up and brings it back around, so it's not sitting food just sitting in here. But this is already their second feeding of the day. We've kind of been alternating pellets, flake, pellets, flake. Sometimes I've done both, but I just want to do a good amount of feedings, multiple times a day, small feedings, just to put the size on these fish as quick as possible. But that's all I got for the transcriptus. I guess I can sit here and let y'all watch them eat, but they're not really like no crazy feeding fish. You just see most of them come out when I feed. But yeah, that fish that's the one that stays in the rock. If you look at his patterns, he's more, he's not as dark as all the rest of them, she. But he might be smarter because he understands that, oh, I don't have to go out into the open and eat. All the food is going to go right into this cave. And he's been chasing everybody away from that cave. And since I've been thinking about these fish a lot and just thinking about this tank and how it's going to look in a couple months, it dawned on me that when I bought these fish from that fish store, from Click and Fish, the owner was telling me these are from his collection, or these are fish that he has bred. So part of me is saying, oh, if he bred these fish, that means a lot of them are probably related. And I kind of want to get another group of 6 or so to put in here, just so that there's, I have, for my colony, I know that, okay, it started out with fresh blood, as well as some blood that's probably been line bred a little bit. But there's a fresh blood in there, so I'm not, in a couple generations, I'm not dealing with a lot of deformities or just weak fish. But yeah, that's something else I've been noticing. These fish get to shaking at each other. Well, yeah, I think I have been kind of thinking about something that eats algae, because I have bought a wave maker. Once I noticed that these fish will sit in the flow and it doesn't mind them, I bought us like a small wave maker that I'm going to put up here in this back corner that's going to blow all throughout the rock, so that hopefully I get that perching behavior throughout the whole tank. But when I started thinking about that, I'm thinking, man, I got a lot of rocks in here. It's really just gonna be a lot of hard algae on the rocks. What type of algae eater would do good in this type of tank? And I was thinking maybe I'd just do some bristle nose, but there's no wood material in this tank. Most plecos really benefit from having some type of wood material in their tank. So then I got to thinking, what about some of the Stiphodon gobies? And I think it would work, but the only thing that kind of has me on the edge is these fish, once I see that perching behavior, they kind of behave the same way. They're not filling the same niche, but they take up the same space in the tank, kind of. Whereas if I had, say, 3 or 4 Stiphodons in here, they would be perching all along the rocks, just like the transcriptus do. And I don't know how kindly the transcriptus are going to take to another fish in their space doing the same thing as them, even though these fish have their mouth is not meant to eat algae. I don't think they're like hard algae eaters. They might pick at like some string algae or something. But, you know, I don't know. That's something I've toyed about. So if you have or have seen anybody do that successfully, I'm not against it. But if I don't ever add the Stiphodons, I think I will be happy with this just being a species only tank with just hundreds of transcriptus, however many this 20-gallon ecosystem will hold. But that's all I got on this tank. I'm gonna go ahead, start getting this drained out while I show y'all the other tanks. I had to take a quick break from the dog content. Pop some little cut in the grass, gotta get the boys out the way. Ain't that right, Louis? Fat man. Watch this. This is the crazy one. Watch this. As soon as I let him go, he's gonna run right to the door. Come on, Crush. Calm down for a second. Calm down, Crush. Hey, man. There, you loose. Oh, see if he's seen if Louis there. Nope, Louis not home. Louis in the barn already, Crush. And right there to the door. Because he just knows he has to clean up. Come on, Crush. Come on, boy. Come on. You're not going in there. Jeez, Louis, I just put you in there. Y'all just saw that. Get in the cage. Louis, what's up with you, man? I just put you in this cage. Literally, the time it took for me to get Crush and put him in the cage, and this is what you do? This is what you do, Louis? Jesus. Now you wonder why I'm getting back into fish. Perfect. You know. All right, so the tank's drained down about 50% right now. And now I just have to amp myself up to move it. I really don't want to do a full 100% water change because, one, I only had these fish for like a week, and I don't think they're too adjusted to whatever my water parameters are, and I'd rather not. I just don't think 100% water changes are like good for anything besides like, unless it's necessary. Really, if I do a water change, I really only want to do about 20-30%. But what can I do? So I'm gonna try to see if I can move this tank and get these pieces of wood up underneath of it. Whew. Who needs a gym when you have fish tanks? All right, that was way easier than I expected. I basically just slid the tank out, put a piece in, slid it the other way, put a piece in. Risky, yes, but way easier than I expected. And now As you can see, everything's sitting flush how you want it. And now I can actually put this tank in the middle of the dresser instead of off to one side. Even though no promises that it won't end up back off to one side, so that I can put something else right there. But yeah, I've had this dresser for a long time. It's been through a couple I ain't even gonna try to say the word. It's been through a couple different moves with me, as far as moving, tearing down a bedroom fish room, and then restarting a bedroom fish room. And now I'm at a point where I don't have all the tanks I used to have. This footprint wise is my biggest tank. This is nothing but a 20-gallon long. But in the long term, I have these 3 shelves. Don't know if I'll use the bottom one because, one, I have really young kids, 2 years old. That might be a recipe for disaster. And 2, unless it's something that's like, it's not very interesting, but is not very interesting to look at, but it's interesting to have. That's the only way I'll be able to have it down there, because I always like looking at my tanks, and I can't really see that tank if I'm sitting in my bed. I can't really see it, you know. But I'm planning on I measured this out. I can fit 2 10-gallons going this way, like vertically, instead of their typical horizontal. I can fit 2 side by side with some room left over. So I think I'll do that and have 4 10-gallon tanks right here. This 20-gallon, that's probably gonna be there forever, unless I decide to put something else next to it. This, I want to kind of get a different stand, something that I can have multiple fish tanks and 1 footprint. So this is liable to change any day when the right stand comes. And over here in my windowsill, we'll talk about that in just a second. All right, this tank's done now. I had to use the water bottle to reprime the filter, but that's all. That's it. Everything's said and done for today. Water change. You can kind of see the flow from that pump right there. Water change, all that stuff got kicked up that was in the rocks, so that's good. Filter picked that up. I just can't wait till that wave maker comes. So when I do a water change, there's less stuff that gets kicked up. And I just want to see the behavior change. If I order it and the fish are stressed out because it's too much flow, I can take it out and just try to position this pump instead of having it blowing kind of like to finish the loop. I can just have it like stick it right there and blow it this way across the whole tank. But yep, that's all for that. So now we're going to do a water change on this tank. I really don't have much to talk about with this. This is a pair of convicts that I got when I was just starting to get back into keeping fish again. I had only been back into the fish for a couple months. I've had these for a couple months. They've been through hell and back, basically. Because I'll be honest, convicts are kind of like put it in the water, make sure it has water and it won't die. As you can see, like, I stole the filter off this tank for that tank, and I just have like this little cheap Walmart filter running in there that I had laying around, and it's barely, I mean, it's pumping, but it's not doing enough to not have this oil on the top. But this is a cool tank. Part of me is saying, man, just let them spawn one time just so you can say you spawned convicts again. But then this part of me is like, I've already seen convicts spawn a lot. I had a tank set up like this years ago, where it was basically just rocks, like just a lot of rocks. Sorry if you hear the, oh, almost dropped the phone. Sorry if you hear my kids in the background. They're supposed to be taking a nap, but they do what they want. Yeah, I had a tank similarly set up to this, but it was just all stone like that. Not serious stone, it was just like landscape stone. And I just stacked it up super high and had convict spawning in there, and it looked good. But the fish that I want to get for this tank, I'm not going to say the name yet because I don't know if I'm going to get it or not. They look similar to convicts in that they have the same pattern. They kind of reach the same size. They're cichlids, so you know they form monogamous pairs. But they're not like convicts where I can go into the store and say, okay, I see a male right there, I see a female right there. They're not even swimming together. But if I take them home and put them in a tank together, 9 times out of 10, they're going to pair up. From what I've researched about this specific fish, you can buy 6 of them and still not get a pair. Normally, buying 6 of anything, any type of fish that forms pairs, you'll get at least 1 pair out of that. But these fish are like so selective. I don't know if they're as aggressive as everybody's saying that they are in like the research I've done, but from what the research I've done, basically everybody's saying you can buy 6 and you may not even get a pair. But when you do get a pair, you might as well just take the other fish out immediately because they're not going to be able to coexist. And that's fine with me because right now, I mean, if you're keeping tanks 20 gallons and smaller, unless you specifically want to do a community tank, I really feel like you should do species only tanks, especially with these pairing cichlids, because most tanks, 20-gallon tanks, is about approximately, it kind of represents the territory that pair of fish would be protecting in the wild. That's how I look at it. Like, they're not ready to be protecting a whole 6-foot wall, or however long this wall is, as a 6-inch fish. It's just not realistic. So that's what I got for this tank. We're gonna do a water change on that. I probably won't even scrape the glass or anything. This is kind of just like it's kind of just here. Not say I'm disappointed in this tank or I'm not enjoying it, but I'm not really paying no attention to it. I'm kind of just feeding it, do my water changes when I feel like it, and letting the convicts be. But chances are these convicts will get rehomed, and I'm on the fence of, for this tank, on the fence of either just go full African cichlid and just keep on with your African cichlid bug right now, or make a community tank with tetras and all that nice stuff. Since this is in my bedroom, it would be nice to have that kind of tank where there's just like always something going on. It just looks good, you know. And I can't say that. I can say, yeah, this tank looks good, but to say there's always something going on isn't really true, because from what I've seen, most times when I come upstairs, the fish are just perched in their spot, hanging out, not really bickering amongst each other. They just perched in one spot. So that's what we're going to get going now. And then after that, I will explain to you, 1, what's in that tank there, and 2, my plans for the fish in that tank. Don't mind that. That's just kind of like a spare plants. Throw it in there. It's in the windowsill. It's getting enough light. Just throw them in there and forget it. When I want them again, they're living. Like I can show you. I mean, the plants grow super good in this tank. You got red root floater, liliapsis. You see some crypts in there. There's a whole bunch of Anubias. Not Anubias, boost. Super glued to a rock in there. But yeah, like you can see, this crypt isn't doing bad. It's not planted. I don't put any ferts or anything in there. Just sunlight, no heater. The only fertilizer they get is from the beta that lives in there. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm not a pristine fish keeper who keeps everything pristine. If the fish is healthy. See, there's no filter, no heater, nothing. Beta fish, very healthy, very happy. I can actually hand feed this beta fish. That's why he's not scared of my finger like that. But enough running my mouth. Let's change this water so I can talk about what I really want to talk about. All right, that's the water change done on the convict tank. I need to turn that filter back on just so it can do what little it was doing. Not much to say here. This is just kind of like my biotype convict tank. whatever you want to call it. I ain't got much to say about it. Everybody knows what a convict is. Everybody knows they'll breed if you get a pair and put them in water and give them a cave. Probably don't even got to give them a cave. But let's talk about the fish that I wanted to talk about. In here I have Neolamprologus brevis. This is a shell-dwelling cichlid, another Lake Tanganyika cichlid. But these fish are part of that group of fish that come from that lake that specialize in living in shells. In Lake Tanganyika, there's massive shell beds that don't decompose. The shells just stay there. So the fish have evolved to make a use for them shells. And the reason these shells don't decompose is because in Lake Tanganyika, the water is so hard, there's such a high calcium content that the shells aren't breaking down. They just stay there. So these fish come from hard water, high pH. And, they live in shells. That's basically the rundown. You can keep a pair from this is all research I've read. I've only had these fish. I got these fish when I got the transcriptus from the same fish store, Click and Fish. He was a Lake Tanganyikan guy. He had Similis in there. He had other things in there. But I just decided on brevis because at heart, I'm a bulldog man. And these are the bulldog cichlid. So it kind of makes sense that me having bulldogs as pets in dog form, why not have them as pets in fish form? So my plans for this group of fish. I bought a trio. I do not know if I have one male and two females or two males and one female. The only fish I know for sure is a female is the small one in the back, just based off all the research I've done. Her face is different, she's streamlined, and she's smaller. And those are all the dead giveaways for the brevis, as far as sex and brevis. And then I think that one right there is a male. But this fish that's in this shell here is the most colored up at all times. And I'm not sure if it is another male or another female. And this fish also spends most of its time hidden in a shell. The reason being for that, shell dwellers, as I said, they come from areas where, let's just look at the yard per se. That whole fire pit might be shells in the middle of this lake. And then there will be colonies or groups of these fish in there. Not these specifically, but groups of shell dwelling fish in that, in that block party of shells. These, however, kind of work a little differently. These fish aren't really in those colonies, in those blocks of shells, in those large groups of shells. They don't really live like that. They kind of live in the open, and then they find a shell in the middle of the basically desert. So let's just picture this tank has nothing in it, and then there's just a couple shells in there. That's kind of how you will find them in the wild. And then when they find that shell, unlike other shell dwellers the male will have a shell, the female will have a shell, and they come, they might stay the night every now and then, if you know what I mean, grown folks. These fish are more of, let's go ahead and get a mortgage out and share a home together. That's how the brevis form. The brevis pairs they will share a shell. Instead of having a whole colony of shells, a whole colony of brevis, you'll see two brevis sharing a shell, defending like a 6-inch radius around that shell. Great. When you hear that, that is like perfect for nanofish behavior. Because now I've done this research, okay, they only need 6 inches of territory to really defend their shells. Oh, they'll share a shell? That's even better. Oh, they're not super aggressive towards each other, which is even better. So now I have ordered a tank that will take up this whole windowsill. So from here to here, it's 29 point something inches long. This windowsill is like 30 inches long. So it's going to be a snug fit. It'll be just as wide as this tank is front to back. So that's probably like 6 inches, 5-6 inches, because you have to take account that, hey, I still need to open my window every now and then if I want to. So that's what it will be right here. These tanks will get moved. I'm not going to do a water change or anything on this tank until that tank comes, or unless I see, okay, the fish are just doing bad in there, or it just looks like I need to do a water change. Until that happens, I'm just going to let them rock out, because another thing I read is that they can be kind of finicky when it comes to rescaping or just having your hands in the tank. That can make them break their pair bonds and all that. And I don't know if I have a pair yet. I do know these two fish spend a lot of time together. This one spends a lot of time alone. That's all I know so far. I only had these fish about a week. When that tank comes, I'll give you a general rundown of how the tank will be. It'll just be sand bed, shells, and that's it. I'm not gonna have room for a filter though. I could do a sponge filter inside the tank. That kind of takes away from the aesthetics. I could do a below gravel filter. I never tried one of those before. It's kind of outdated, but I'm pretty sure if it worked before, it works now. Don't really want to do that. I could try to find a hang on back that is going to be this small to hang on the back of that gap right there. But chances are very slim that I find that. So what I'm going to do is, when that tank comes and I can really get it in place, I'm going to build a above tank filter that runs maybe not the whole length of the tank, or maybe the whole length of the tank, but it's going to be above tank filter with a decent amount of like surface area, deep enough that I can do aquaponics in it as well, since it'll just be water going through. It won't just be sitting water, so the roots will always have access to fresh nutrients. And that will just, I think it will be a cool thing to kind of make setting up a shell dweller tank just a little bit more interesting, because as I said, we've been watching this tank for 5-6 minutes now. They haven't really done much. If you look at this is just kind of like thrown together. I didn't try to make this tank look good. I knew I needed somewhere to put them. When I got the fish, the fish store owner at Click and Fish, he gave me some more, some of his shells. I have more shells in the mail, because the general consensus for shell dwellers is you want 3 to 4 shells per fish. Right now I have 3 shells and 3 fish, so that ratio is all off. So right now I'm just waiting for all that stuff to come in. Hopefully it'll be here sometime next week, and then I can get that show on the road. I thank y'all for watching. Like and comment, subscribe, and tell me what else you would like to see. What other fish should I get into? Really, I'm a nano fish connoisseur. I like fish behaviors. I like pretty fish, but I like behaviors more. The brevis aren't really a super pretty fish, but they have a neat behavior of living in shells, breeding in shells, defending the shell, and then raising their fry or their babies in and around shells. That's pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to watching that go on. I really think that is the pair though, back in this corner. I think that's the pair. And hopefully they just don't bully this, whatever this other one is, and he can stay around long enough to pair up with one of their fry. So then I'll have 2 pairs. But that's the plan. I'm just waiting on that tank to come in, waiting on the shells to come in, and then I'll basically have everything I need. I can steal some of my PVC pipe back to help me make that above tank filter. And yeah, I ain't got nothing else to say. Appreciate y'all for watching. Again, these are Neolamprologus brevis, or the bulldog cichlid. Cool little fish. It's very common practice to keep a pair in a 5-gallon tank, a nano tank. But the tank I'm ordering, I'm sorry, I keep talking. I try to end the video and I keep talking, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, just let it play in the background. You might learn something. You might laugh. I don't know. But the tank I'm ordering is only a 6-gallon tank. But the footprint, this is something that like I'm a deep believer in. Footprint matters way more than the really amount of volume that the tank holds. So this will be a 6-gallon tank that goes all the way across here. It only holds like 6 point something gallons. But this allows the fish 30 inches of swimming space, left or right. And these fish only, in the wild, they only defend 6 inches of territory. So it's kind of like overkill. But that's why I say hopefully this fish here can live long enough, not be bullied or anything, to pair off with one of their fry. And then I can have multiple pairs, not really a colony, but multiple pairs in the tank breeding and producing fry. I don't know the resale value of fry for this fish. I don't know. I don't really see them as a fish that like your average person would get. This is more of a hobbyist niche fish. Compared to the transcriptus, they're also a niche fish, but they have the pattern that will get the average person's eye and say, hey, what are those? And now that person is entering the African cichlid portal without even knowing. They just liked how the transcriptus looked, like me. These guys, I feel like in a fish store, a lot of people will walk by. So I'm not really hell-bent on trying to take fry out and sell fry because I don't know how profitable that really will be. So that's the plans right now. Really just get that tank and get it here, get it set up, and then just leave the fish be. Let the pair form, breed, whatever that happens. And then I'll be able to watch that ecosystem develop. But I'm going to stop talking for real now. Thank y'all for watching. Again, these are my Neolamprologus brevis. I believe that's a pair there. Correct me if I'm wrong. I wish this male or this fish here would have came out so you could kind of see. But I believe this is the pair here. And then this is just an outlier. But again, if you have anything you can teach me about this species or any other species that I may have mentioned in this video, feel free to comment. Comment any other nano fish you think I may be interested in. Because, like I said, I'm in the process of rebuilding this bedroom fish room. And there's some things I want to do different. I don't want to just keep buying fish from Petco because you only get a limited supply. So, comment, like, subscribe, share with somebody you would think would enjoy the video. And, let me know what else you're keeping. Tell me what you got in your bedroom fish room. Tell me how many tanks you're running, what fish you're running. Tell me any projects you got. Because right now, this is the project that I have that I'm kind of I'm not going to say most excited for, but I am excited for it. The transcriptus, I'm probably most excited for that. But it's not really a project anymore because now I'm just at the set it and forget it stage. This is going to be kind of like, I think their escape will go through a couple renditions, a couple variants. I don't know the word. Have mercy. All right, I need to stop talking now. I'm getting flutter-mouthed. Look how as soon as I was ready to stop talking, that fish came out. But, all right, everybody. Thank y'all for watching. Sorry if this is a long-winded video. This is just a little update of the fish room. So, again, like, comment, subscribe. Share with somebody you think would like it. And let me know how many fish tanks you have. Let me know what you're keeping. Let me know what you would like to see on the channel. Y'all have a good one. Stay blessed.